Welcome to Peri Pause, the podcast, where midlife women get real answers about their bodies, their health, and what's actually changing. Because every woman deserves this conversation.
Welcome back to Peri Pause, the podcast. This is the second in our series of Meet the Nurse Practitioner series. Today we have Nurse Practitioner extraordinaire Nancy Chen. I love her so much. Thank you so much for being a part of our team. I can't wait to introduce you to her and have her share her experience becoming a nurse practitioner and how she segued into midlife women's health, along with a fantastic educational history in exercise physiology and all the things. So I kind of want to just jump right in.
First time. Really excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
You got out of high school. You went to Meredith College for exercise physiology. Talk about it.
I went to Meredith. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew I was going to go to college. And
Nice.
that was the thing after high school. And I chose a number of medical, I guess, directions, but then landed on exercise physiology. It was really nice because I just understood the human body a bit better on a kinesiology level and then on a cellular level. But then I didn't know what I wanted to do after college. So I actually became a personal trainer.
Nice.
For many years. And then I trained a number of nurses who just like, oh, you'd make a good nurse. You should think about it. So I was like, well, I like to take care of people. And I love personal training, but I wanted a little bit more challenge. So I entered nursing school. I went back to school to become a nurse. And when I graduated, I went straight into critical care. And critical care.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why are these things are preventative?
Yes.
There must be a way to fix it.
Yep.
There must be a way to address it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of recurrent, redundant chronic disease states that are really exacerbated by the time they see me. And it's I don't have a primary care and I'm scared of going to medicine and the education piece.
You're such a big educator. If I would say what I've seen your strengths are, which we talk about this, at Peri Pause all the time about, it's easy to write a prescription because you know what the woman needs on a cellular level. But the bigger part of treatment, in my opinion, that is so helpful and therapeutic is the education piece and teaching a woman what is happening to her body, which is so comforting for a lot of them. Those first-time patients that come in and they leave, it's just like you can feel the relief. The shoulders come down. It's like, oh, gosh, this all makes sense now. But, so you took the education piece and kind of ran with it. And what could you do to prevent women, people in general, ending up in critical care with preventive conditions? So at that point, when did you decide to be a nurse practitioner?
Oh, well, I was like probably less than a year in. And I was like, I'm going to
this.
go back to school.
Right.
Like, I need to go back to school, become a nurse practitioner. And so enter that journey. Took some years and came out, and I was working in like acute urgent care setting right in the pandemic. Yeah. So I would say everyone came out of the woodworks with all the things. And you're like, wow, you haven't had medication for 6 months. But obviously in an acute urgent care setting, seeing primary care related things is different because it's like, they're like right before they need to go to the ER. Yeah. So you do what you can, but once again, you're maximized by an urgent care time, 10-minute appointment, 15-minute appointment. Yeah. And you still got to take care of the acute thing they came in for, but you found all these things. Yeah. So that is a different type of setting because you don't even know if they're going to follow up, but you do as much as you can. But once again, it's like, okay, well, maybe I need to go in a different setting to provide this more awesome care. Yeah. And so I, went into like a traditional primary care setting and took care of 2-day-old to 98-year-old and did everything under the moon there. Chronic care management, annual wellness, I was still the sick care, but you have an awesome team and you are like, I'm rocking and rolling. I'm expanding all my skill set. And then once again, you're like, it's a 15-minute appointment. We need to talk about this. And my midlife lady's coming in.
Absolutely. And then you say, come back in 3 months, come back in 2 months for
Right.
another 15-minute visit.
Right.
And our physiology and the change of our physiology deserves so much more than
Right.
15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like you see the patients and then but you're in this crunched window
Yes.
because that's how it's run.
Right. And that's where healthcare providers, moral injury occurs. And moral injury being, you could have done better, but you were limited by time. And then you have to spread it out to answer to admin, to answer to all the powers behind
Right.
your interaction with that patient sitting in front of you. So that you do your best. And you
Right.
leave feeling like $1 million some days. Other days you're like, you think about that person in the middle of the night. You're like, I need to, I need to do this next time. I need to do this. But yeah, so at that point, when you were feeling that way, talk about your segue into a more specialized care.
It's either, people come back for their routine or maybe their annual and you're like, so-and-so did not an eventful visit last year. Wonderful. It'll probably be pretty similar. Love to catch up, things like that. And you see so-and-so and it's not like it was many years later. It was just like maybe 6 months or a year later. And you connected, made a really good relationship. And then they're just like, I'm losing my mind and I'm having marital troubles. Why is my glucose going up, Nancy? Why is I don't understand. And I didn't understand either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you tell, well, we just have to buckle down and watch what we're eating, exercise,
blah, blah, blah,
sleep
blah, blah.
better, stress less.
Stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah, because we try to stress. We try to not stress out anyways, but, there's a lot on our plate. We're the matriarchs of society. So it's just kind of like they're asking for help. But I just couldn't tie. I was like, I have a web of all these things that are happening suddenly in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pull in together. I was like, I don't have enough training for some reason. And I keep getting the same answers.
Yes.
It was like driving me mad. I would just like actually not go to sleep like, well, what about blah, 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 blah? She must, I don't know. I'm not doing enough. That's why I'm not doing enough.
Yes.
And so
moral injury every day.
So and then of course, like, I think after my second kid at 38, and I was like, well, the Zoloft doing good, but not good enough because I'm like really like burnt out work or something. I have like very little patience, like very little. And I just felt cloudy. Like I was just swimming in clouds.
Yeah. And you couldn't figure yourself out or talk yourself out of it, or you just kind of push through while back here it's just clicking like what's missing? I don't feel like myself. Those words that just tumble out of midlife women's mouths.
Gosh, you can't imagine. You're like a provider and you're talking to someone and you're just like, I forgot what I was just talking to you about because I was thinking about the next thing.
Yes.
And then you just keep moving on and you're just like, no, that was weird. You're like, oh, it must be just, you're gaslighting yourself. You're like, I must be experiencing blah, blah, blah. And then, I think this is like during the pandemic time too, that I thought about, perimenopause, like in general, just thinking about the word, but it didn't come back into like full circle until I was going through my personal things and I was like, perimenopause. And then I was like, how many ladies have I dismissed?
Yes.
I was like,
that feeling.
I'm so sorry. And
I would say to have grace with yourself on that. We use the word dismiss, but when there's no education about it, it's not a focus or wasn't. Now it's taken a sharp left in a really good way or right, whichever one's the better way.
Right.
You can have some grace with yourself as a practitioner once you know. Right. But yes, that makes you better going forward, thinking about, like, it's the same thing with me. I was thinking about all these women. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this woman complaining of this. I remember this woman talking about this, when I worked here and so on and so forth. And then it became so crystal clear. Right. And the gap in care has just been absolutely tremendous, but I'm loving seeing it close.
I know. Yes. Yeah. That's why I was like, oh, we're just driven by hormones. I'm driven by hormones. I'm just going to end up living 40 years past my ovarian function.
So then what do we do? Right.
Right. Because it's like, I use the analogy. I was like, it's like the thing about bodies like cars.
Yeah.
Where's our oil change?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Like, what are we going to do during that car,
Yeah.
inspection?
Yeah. What else needs to be done?
Right. And so, yeah, that really pushed me kind of thinking more like I have to go in that direction. I have to. It just doesn't feel complete. And I just feel like all I learned was here's reproduction and then here is menopause, but no in between. And I was like, this is like where we have to dive into. So absolutely started my search of I need to
understand that. Absolutely. And it had to be self-taught because there was nothing out there over the last few years to get solid information. Going back to the fact that, you had a later in life child, I have a lot of women that have, most recently I did have a woman come in and I said, have you thought that you went from postpartum to an early perimenopause? She's like, yes, I feel like that. Is that real? Absolutely, it's real.
Right.
If you're having children in your late 30s, early 40s, that's a lot. That's a lot with ovarian reserve, just total body function. There's research ongoing right now, reproductive endocrinology, that is addressing that because talk about women who never feel like themselves ever again after having, a wonderful pregnancy. They have their new baby who's becoming a toddler and they're just like, I cannot make things work the way they used to work.
Right.
And it all is not lost, truly. That is definitely treatable. So you became interested in menopause and then all of a sudden you and I were sitting across from each other.
I know. I was like, is this real?
Yeah.
And so, it's been such a cool journey and, I love learning about this every day.
Ever since you started working with Peri Pause, what would you say, think about something like the aha moment there that just kind of continued to build your, toolbox of.
I just was like, oh yeah, hey, hormones, how is this like really, when I say, it guides us, it's like, oh, it's like a chronic neuroendocrine deficiency or chronic neuroendocrine change that you just can't catch up with.
Yeah.
And it affects every part of your cell. So I think that is cool. So that's neat to understand. And we should understand how that, if your brain can't light up and optimally like fire, well, no part of your brain is going to talk to the rest of you in the way you think it's supposed to talk to you. And so I think understanding that as a provider is like, oh man, okay, well, if I was in traditional care or wherever the care, I'm like, you know what? I don't have that. I'm sorry, I don't have that background understanding. I hear you. Maybe let's discuss, like, should we have another visit and do more exploration of my own education on this topic? Or should we, have you go into a space that's what they mainly manage.
Yeah. And that has not existed for a long time. Who do you refer to for perimenopause and menopause?
Right.
Us, of course. But truly, when you think back, it's like, where do we go? And again, a lot of, we as women think, oh, it's our reproduction and it's our hormones. It must be gynecology. But that's, again, it's a different subspecialty. And to expect gynecologists to know everything about cardiovascular, neuro, all of that stuff, on top of all they already do, which is tremendous, is unreasonable. But we could always, there are subspecialists within that who love that. And I think that's awesome.
Hi, I'm Jamie with Peri Pause. We are passionate about midlife women's care during the perimenopause and menopause years. Women see an average of 4 healthcare providers before they find genuine midlife women's care. I started Peri Pause to fill the gap that is midlife women's care. If you have felt a change in your body and don't feel like yourself, you've sought care, felt dismissed, unheard, or told labs were normal, but you still feel like your concerns as a midlife woman haven't been addressed as thoroughly as you would like them to be or that you deserve, that is what Peri Pause was built for. This gap that's midlife women's care involves relationships, how a woman feels about herself, her performance at work, how she feels about herself as a spouse, a partner, a mother, a daughter, a sister. When a woman comes in and says, I know this is normal, but I need help. It's affecting every part of my life. I don't want any woman to feel like they just have to power through or that there's no help for the symptoms. There is absolutely help for your symptoms. I don't care what your history is, medical, family history, everyone deserves this conversation. They return and say, I feel like myself again. Those are magical words. Every woman deserves this conversation. You do not have to suffer in silence, and that is why Perimenopause is here.
What do you see that women need most from you at an initial visit? Like, what is your common theme that you see often?
They just want to be heard. They just want to be like, I just want to be validated. I want to have the space to like just tell you how I'm feeling. And I don't want to be told the standardized recommendations that I'm already doing.
Right.
And I had to understand, like, when we used to tell patients, like in other settings, like, hey, you just maybe need to limit those calories or exercise harder or get more sleep or things. It's saying you're not doing enough.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
that's what they're hearing. Mm-hmm. But when you have only a few minutes to wrap up that visit, that's probably what you're going to say. And some don't have time or maybe want to but can't. And so it's kind of like, hey, we should redirect and guide you in this other direction.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about our patients, about caring for midlife women? What's your favorite?
Like giving them hope.
Mm-hmm.
Hope, like.
And then when they come back to you?
Yeah.
It's the come back for the follow-up that's just like,
it is.
Oh, it's golden.
Yeah.
It's so golden.
I mean, I try not to set myself up where I'm like, I'm going to hit it out of the ball. That's what it sounds like. I try to hit it out of the ballpark.
Expectation management, yes,
right.
But,
Sometimes I'm like, when they come back and they're like, I feel like myself, I'm like,
yes.
That means because I explain what that means, like initially, when you say, I don't feel like myself, because millions of ladies are saying that.
Yeah.
And
with an inability to characterize exactly what that is.
And I'm like, hey, look, we supported your little house. Foundationally, your cells lit up, running correctly with their little powerhouse because hormone, the brain's talking, right?
Yes.
And then on top of that, you're like, I feel like I feel the benefits of activity and dietary modifications.
Yes.
Awesome. And then on top of that, it's like chronic disease states. Whatever meds you're on, please continue taking. It just probably will work better with you.
Yeah.
And then it's like the supplements, the vitamins, they need to know how to work too.
Right.
And then if you're doing a GLP or GIP, like it kind of runs in that kind of like direction. And then you're like, oh, I'm spending time with my family. I feel good with that. I'm spending time with myself. My work is going really well. I'm just able to like be in this space. Yeah. And it's like a reaching self-actualization for us as midlife females. So I say stress is going to come and hit us from the outside, but our armor's protected. So we can kind of be like triage, like, okay, this goes here. Don't worry about this. This is going to be fine. And that's a moving target for sure.
Oh,
like
absolutely. In
perimenopause.
Oh my
right?
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but it's like when I'm at least getting it near to that makes me kind of like, yes.
Yeah. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my thing. My patients know. I'm like, talk about the house. And
yes,
so,
absolutely. How can you can't be hanging up shingles and windows when there's nothing on the base. Right.
Pretty much.
Since focusing on midlife women, what is something maybe you've changed your mind about in healthcare or approaches to certain things?
That's a great question. I think it just I'm always trying to get the understanding and education to my ladies that maybe they seem like in the public eye irrational, but they're not.
Right.
They're not.
Yes. Thank you for that validation. I needed that today.
Like I'm sorry, they're going through a lot in their brain. They're literally holding it together. And so it's like, when we kind of put labels on someone like, oh, they're being a such and such. And I'm just like, like that lady got mad at the orange and threw it down in the grocery store. Like, she's just having a bad day. She's having a little hormone fluctuations. Like leave her alone. Like, just walk away, I mean, I'm not going to go by and give her a card because she's not going to know who I am. But
right.
I just think, like, just that's your lady who's just had it.
Yeah.
And so to not just judge her immediately and be like, oh,
Yeah.
she is going to be so horrible at this. It's just
Exactly. You do not know what anyone's experiencing, regardless who, age, male, female. But at the same time, like trying to make all the parts tick and pieces fit as a midlife woman, sometimes it is overwhelming when you are doing what you've always done and it just doesn't work. But I think we've even had our administrative staff comment on the mood change from sitting in the lobby prior to the first visit to coming out of our room an hour later and just being like, just that little ounce of hope. And there's something that can be done. Backing up, like what you were talking about, expectation management, which is so important, because I do have women that will say, come back and be like, I'm doing better, but I'm not. Like my neighbor, she is like, this is a game changer. I'm like, but it's, again, a moving target. We look at all of you.
Right.
So we love hitting the bullseye first. Yay.
Right.
But we will never stop working to make it better during the chaos that is perimenopause until we get, so many women are like, is this ever going to get better? The surges and drops and surges and drops of our own estrogen that affect our brain. Our brain wants a steady state of something.
Right.
And it's up, down, up, down. That's why when you wake up in the morning, I had a patient say to me, she said, I looked over to my husband and said, hey, you wake up feeling like the same every day? And he looked over, a trap probably, and looked over and said, yeah, why? And we just both laughed together, because it's just like you wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I feel awful. I'm so tired.
Right.
Nothing's changed. You wake up the next day, you're like, bing, I have all this energy. Like it's crazy. But again, it's this chaos. Your estrogen high, your estrogen's low. You had a luteal out of phase event. Now your estrogen's 700 today. It was 30 yesterday.
Right.
So, yeah.
I always said, I'm like, perimenopause, we're going to be chasing this target.
Yeah.
Until
for a little while. It does settle.
It settles, like, for even some years after post. Like, we'll get there. Yeah. And so I think just understanding that's like the grace. Like, understand. Like, give yourself grace. Like, we're in an all or nothing society. Yeah. It's not all or nothing. Yeah. It really isn't. And so it's just like, hey, all right, today's I didn't get that. It's the week. It's something happening hormonally. Maybe life is happening. Yeah. Hey, did you have surgery? Man, it's going to throw our hormone plan out for some weeks, and we'll readjust. Just like understanding. And I think most of my patients are really good about like, oh, okay, this thing's happening. I don't need to panic. Yeah. I just need to make sure I come to an appointment. Absolutely. And talk, right.
And that's the gift you have given them. So thanks for that.
Yeah. And so I try to give good, thorough education initially. Yeah. I want to take care of the whole midlife lady, but I may not be able to complete it and maybe take a few visits for me to do that. Yeah. And sometimes I'm able to do that after a couple of visits, which is great. But as you mentioned, the expectation piece on the response, it's a biological response. Yeah. Even if you have 6 other females that's coming to see us in your family, they're not going to respond the same way you're responding. Right. And so it's just also like, hey, this is my own unique journey. Yes. And I'm going to just take some time to understand that. Yep. Because, yes, you do have to pay attention around this time. Yes. I know we took for granted our 20s. Like, we're running high on our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It's great, And so, but now we're on this other side where it's a wild roller coaster. Yeah. But things are heading downhill with random peaks and drops, and we just have to give ourselves grace. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hope others do as well. Yeah. If not, we can force it.
Yeah. Just right. Then find the right people. Find your right tribe, right?
Absolutely.
I don't go see your traditional care person still, all your specialists, and we're kind of the other piece that tries to tie in some loose ends, right? And so we don't replace other people. I just, we're part of your team. We're part of this,
absolutely.
Looped
and part
team.
of the base, because I find a lot of women come to us with what I call the menopause medication or perimenopause medication cocktail. Yeah. They have their statins, their antidepressants, their heartburn meds, you know, maybe a little side Buspar, a side Xanax. I mean, just multiple meds, and then probably 7 or 8 supplements. And I have women that are like, can I get off of these supplements? I'm like, let's talk. Let's look at all of you. Let's do good labs. Let's look at all of you. What are you taking these for and why?
Right.
You know, what can we reduce here and get that base going to where you have your hormones as supported and as stable as we could possibly get them through the chaos, and then after.
Right.
See what shakes out, and then treat that accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the whole woman, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
We're gonna always need some little bit of modification, but we find the right regimen eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll wrap this up, but I just want to know what, if you could talk to a group of midlife women right now, what is the one thing you would say to them right now?
Oh, okay. Well, it's validated all the things you're going through.
Yes, you are never wrong when you are explaining what you are
Right.
experiencing.
Right.
Never.
You're not the only one. I feel people are like, I'm ashamed. I'm feeling like this. I'm not enough. I have to ask for help. I never take medication. I'm like, no, don't like put yourself in the bubble of like, you're by yourself and you're not going to get help and this is forever. It's not forever. There's people willing to hear you out. We have a robust Facebook group that, thank you, like really supports us, the Peri Pause crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the things you're going through are real, and
Yes.
it's impacting your cells down to a cellular level. Like, you're doing enough in the gym. You're doing enough with your your activities, the way you're eating.
Yeah, this is a missing piece.
Yeah. Like, just, schedule time to come talk to us.
Absolutely.
If your provider can't, that's okay. They just don't have the time, then, come talk to us because we have the space. I mean, you walk in our space, it's probably the most peaceful medical facility you'll come into. You always will leave.
I love that.
You will always leave feeling like, oh, gosh, I let my baggage. I tell my patients, like, leave your baggage here because all my crystals are going to absorb it.
That's right.
So I don't take it home. I promise you I won't take your baggage home. So I think just like there's a place for us.
Place for you.
And we understand.
All of you belong here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
it.
you so much, Nancy. I appreciate this talk and you sharing about yourself. So hopefully our viewers will feel like they know you better. Thank you for your time, Nancy, and thank you so much for listening. And we will see you with our third of our Meet the Nurse Practitioner series soon.
Thanks for listening. If this episode helped you feel more informed or less alone, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another woman who needs this information. You can also follow us on social media for more education and updates at facebook.com/Perimenopause and Instagram at peri.and.pause. Until next time, take good care of yourself. The information shared on the Peri Pause podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.